What's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. It's me, your host, Daniel Healy. By the way, we announced that Caroline Spice. Go to the Facebook page. You guys will see it. And we'll get a hold of Davisha. I apologize if I fucked up your name, but we'll get a hold of you, get you your spices. My guest is Chandler. How do you pronounce Rhone? Rhone. Yeah. Chandler Rhone. I didn't want to fuck it up, but yeah, Chandler Rhone, stand-up comedian. Start shooting a special. Like when I do mics, we're just gonna record my sets and just kind of clip it together as a compilation and post it on YouTube or whatnot.
That's different.
Right. And I wanted to do a special, and he's like, here's the thing about a special. If you look at what they really do, it takes about 2 to 3 months to actually shoot it. Then it's about a year to 2 years in editing. So, like, when...
Does it really take that long?
Bert Kreischer already shot a... Oh, okay, my bad. Bert Kreischer already shot a special from this summer for his summer night tour. And he's in post-editing right now. Still.
Oh, okay.
So last summer he went around the country on his bus and toured and everything, and they recorded everything. And now they're editing literally every show he's done. And it takes a long time. Like, he's got to clip out jokes that don't work or, and he
I didn't know they did that. That's interesting. I thought they just shot the show.
I did too, but
maybe they shot the previous show or the one after, because they have two. But I thought they would just only shoot the one, their last show of the night.
So if you watch, I can't remember which Bert Kreischer special it was, but he has a mustard stain on his shirt in the very beginning. Mm-hmm. And then before he takes off his shirt, in another clip, there's no mustard stain. So it's from a different show.
I never noticed that. Did they do that for every special, or are they just doing that for his, or is that only
I'm sure it's probably for everyone's special. So, like, I think how they do it is, Adam Sandler.
Is it all still on, like, the same...
Venue? For Bert Kreischer, usually when he does specials, I believe he shoots them up in Ohio. Because Ohio's a very big fan base for comedy, period. Adam Sandler, his last stand-up, 100% Real or 100, I can't remember what it was called, but his last stand-up that came out in 2019, he did his special differently. So he would shoot specials in arenas and then in small comedy clubs and then even like in subways. Like in the subway system of New York City and all that.
So how do they like keep it so consistent and like the same? Like, so whenever like I've seen, like, I don't know, that's
so Adam Sandler is so outrageous, I think, that he could pull it off because I mean he's done so many movies and everything. So how they did it was he still stuck to the basis of being 100% real, like the title of his special. But like he would dress up as different characters when he went to the subway, and he'd like sing a song like "Grandma died today" or something like that, and like, how am I gonna tell my kids? And then he's like, I guess I gotta go to the old people's home and just steal a grandma, so they won't. My kids are dumb as shit, so they won't notice the difference.
So I just want to point out, because you did say Malachi said, and I
want to
stay. I want to. No, if I need to, I'll go ahead and clarify what Malachi did say. But the 1 to 2 year thing was me watching comedians in cars getting coffee.
Yes.
So I've watched almost all of that. But whenever they had people on, so many of them had talked about it took about a year for them to do all their bits. So like when you had your bit last night, we would have it recorded and you would practice and look at it and fix it all up. That's just one part of the 1 hour Netflix special. That's why it takes a year, is because they do a bunch of bits, try it out at a bunch of open mics and places, and then they put it all together and then utilize that, practice again, and then put a special up. And it can be a one-shoot thing because they'll do it in front of an audience.
Right.
But then you got the editing afterwards from Netflix, but Netflix is going to be so much faster at doing it because that's their profession. You know what I mean? So if you do a Netflix special, it just so happens to work faster.
Have like a whole team.
Yeah, you have a
whole team doing this.
Yeah, you have a whole team recording. Like Bert Kreischer, he has his own like not production agency, but his own producer and stuff, kind of like I do with Malachi, and he took everyone on the road with him last summer and just basically did it himself. because
Okay.
it saves him. It doesn't save him a lot of money. He spends a lot of money on the cameras and the crew and everything, but he controls everything still.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, it's from his viewpoint. I mean, he's the
exactly. So
creator.
what you do, what he's doing, and what I've heard Tom Segura and like a lot of these circuit comedians that are big time, they will go out and spend their own money to shoot their own special, and then they will sell it to Netflix or to Comedy Central.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And if they don't like it, well, they'll just go post it on their own website or whatnot.
On YouTube. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I don't
because
know.
they want to control their own material.
Yeah.
They don't want Netflix being like, listen, that's too dirty. You can't do that on our deal. It's like, okay, I'll just take it to YouTube or wherever.
Yeah.
It's not a big
I've
deal.
seen that a lot. Where a lot of these headlining comedians who have like a real fan base, like
Andrew
Mark
Schultz.
Norman is a good one.
Right,
Yeah,
Mark Norman,
Schultz.
Andrew Schultz.
Andrew Schultz didn't really have that big of a
I,
special.
so no,
Wasn't
he
it
doesn't
like
have
30 or 40 something minutes, and it was his crowd special.
Yeah, but the thing
Does he
with
have like other actual specials?
I don't think so. But the thing with Andrew Schultz is he's taken over the East Coast. Like he's the big name over on the East Coast because he moved
Kind
from
of big everywhere.
he moved from New York City. He got out of New York City and now he's based out of Miami, Florida.
Is
And
he,
a
did he move
lot
to
of
Miami?
a lot of the New York comedians have moved down to Miami. Just like how Joe Rogan left LA to go to Austin, all those LA comics went to Austin. So they're following
Well, I mean,
bigger
like the
na-
whole COVID situation too. Florida and Texas is very relaxed on
Yeah,
COVID
they are.
restrictions. So, because I hear how bad it is out there in those bigger cities like
Right.
New York and Los Angeles.
The
that
restrictions
everything is
and
so
everything.
locked down that it's so underground that they're just dragging a dead body.
Yeah, true. But that just like the point I was trying to make is like he has that big enough swing in his name, Andrew Schultz, that he's actually bringing people down to LA with him. Like because Joe Rogan, he has the $100 million contract with Spotify. He has a great podcast itself, and then he has his comedy as well. So just with him, he was all about the comedy store. So he was like Adrian.
Well, a lot of those,
for us.
a lot of those guys in Los Angeles. I mean, Comedy Store is like their place. That's their mecca, and then there's the Comedy Cellar in New York City.
Right.
A lot of these guys are moving here because of COVID stuff, but I think like there was like a big step for like Joe Rogan moving to Austin. Like he's kind of like leading people, but I
Right.
also think like even if he didn't, I feel like a lot of people would be moving there anyway. But I feel like he just kind of like
I don't know if
set
it'd
it up.
necessarily be Texas though, because like the comedy scene in Texas isn't as big as you think it is. Like I would have thought
It's
maybe
pretty big in Austin and Dallas. 'cause
Understandably-
I went to Dallas. And did
How
some
many?
comedy.
How is it? I haven't been to
It's-
Dallas for the comedy scene.
It's pretty crazy. There's
Is
there's
it?
a lot of guys out there. Yeah, you know how like we have ours at the Bricktown Comedy Club. How we just have like the one list of like 20 people.
Yeah.
Everyone gets 4 minutes. Out there, I went to the Hyena Club.
There's more than one though,
There's
right?
3 of them.
Okay.
I think there's one in Frisco or Plano. There's one in Fort Worth, and there's one in Dallas.
Okay.
I went to the one with Dallas with Brandon Kilo,
Okay.
and what's it called? So they have these things called blocks, and
So it's like
I
a
think
block
it's-
schedule almost.
yeah, it's like a block schedule. But they have like for each block is 10 different.
Comics.
Yeah, they only allow like 10 per block, and each block has its own different host. And
Okay.
then, but like the first block, everyone in there gets 8 minutes. But these are all like the like professional
The
comedians,
bigger
and they're-
names and okay.
Well,
got
these
you.
guys are like going around the country or just around Texas, and
actually touring and doing.
they're getting booked for shows.
Right.
They're featuring and they're opening for famous people, really.
Gotcha.
Or almost famous people, like
Joey Johnson probably is on that list, or am I wrong?
I think so.
You
I
know,
think he does that.
Joey Johnson. Yeah,
Yeah, I know Joey Johnson. Well, I don't know. Like,
By
I
the
don't
way,
know all of
free
his
Joey
shows.
Johnson Twitter. Free Joey Johnson.
Free Joey Johnson. I don't know everything about that, but
I don't either. I saw it on Facebook. I was like, let's free him. Fuck it, let's get it.
let's get it. I mean, I hope he gets freed. I don't know the whole thing about it. I just see it, and I'm like, oh, hell yeah, get him out.
Right? Yeah,
You know?
exactly. That's where I'm at with everything.
But they have like these 4 blocks, and then like the first block is like all those like, and you can tell too, like when you watch them, you're like, oh my god, these guys are actually really good because they know themselves better.
Well,
So
they've
they
also
all
been
get-
doing it a lot longer too.
Well, yeah, they've all been
Right.
doing it a lot longer. So they all get like 8 minutes, right, in this first block, and then the second block it gets cut down to 4, and then there's like 10 guys going there. Brandon and that, and then there's a third block, and I think then it gets cut down to 3 minutes.
Damn.
I think, or maybe it's still 4, and then there's a fourth block, and everyone only gets like 2 or 3 minutes.
Fuck.
And they put me in the fourth block, and it felt kind of shitty because I was doing comedy at 1:30 in the morning.
Oh,
but I
man.
love that club. That club's amazing. It's pretty cool. There was a lot of people that I got to meet.
That's good.
It just sucked that I was doing comedy at 1:30 in the morning, but
I mean, you gotta think like
I'm not a regular there. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like, even though I traveled and stuff, I mean, for mostly for me, it was just talking to all these cool dudes.
right and
and-
social networking and just getting to know
Yeah,
everyone.
mostly for me, it was just networking, and then like I got to see Crazy Nate because he moved down there, and I didn't
Oh,
know
yeah.
that. And
Well, he's
I
from there, isn't he?
I don't know.
Okay,
Maybe.
I just know he moved to Texas. So
Yeah,
I
he
wasn't
moved
sure
down
if he was
there.
from there.
I got to see Mikey B, Tony Casillas.
I was gonna say Tony's down
and
there too.
I like all those guys. Joey forgot that we were gonna be there, which kind of sucks because I love Joey. He's a really, really cool dude.
Yeah, he's a good
He's
comic.
fun.
Cat. Like
He's a pretty cool dude. I mean, you can also tell, like, from him, too, that he's pretty comfortable up there. Like,
Yeah.
I want to get to a point where I feel really comfortable. Because I'm not, like, I feel like I'm, like, 50% to, like, a point where, like, I want to be and then, like, continue to improve off of that. But, like, I keep setting, like, steps for myself. But, I mean, the whole Dallas thing was, like, really cool and stuff. It just sucked that it had 1:30 in the morning comedy because that whole room was asleep. But
you gotta also think like even with like New York comics and LA comics, like Joe Rogan
Yeah,
just
it's
talked
hard to get
about like the
spots and
store. The store is open till 4
But-
in the morning, and people are still doing sets till 4 in the morning or something like that. It's
yeah,
crazy,
the
you
comedy
know?
store and stuff. But I mean, yeah. So like
Right.
you asked, like how is it down there? Like,
How was the room? How was the room
competition-wise,
around 1:30 though?
It was asleep.
Like, were there people at least there?
I think it was like mostly other people trying to get up, and then
Okay.
when I watched them, I can tell that they were kind of like newer and stuff.
Gotcha.
You know, but what's it called? But I mean, like, I get why I was doing it because like none of these people know me. You know,
Yeah,
it would be kind of bullshit for me to like bump some people or something because these people don't know me.
exactly.
Like, because and like Crazy Nate was like, I think he was had some say in it or whatever, and he couldn't he probably wasn't able to get me on like higher,
What block
but
did
that's
he
just
do?
because I think he did third or second.
Okay.
I think he
Alright.
did second. I think.
So I would assume what
remember.
Mikey B and Joey are probably the ones that do the first block.
Yeah,
Okay.
they all do first block.
Alright.
They're pretty good at comedy. But like you said, like, yeah, there's like 4. It's double than what we have at the comedy club.
I
It's
mean,
40
their
people.
population is huge too.
Well,
compared to
there's a lot of comedians. Like, we might have.
We look at our comedy
them.
scene and we see a lot of comedians in our scene. I feel like if I go to the Dallas Fort Worth area, I'm gonna be overwhelmed with how many comedians there
Yeah,
really
you
are.
know, like Lenny Van Horn, Julie
Mhm.
Drake,
Marty Johnson.
Marty Johnson, like all those people.
Yeah.
And you can throw Adrian in there and whoever else you want in there, but maybe like tops, we have like 5 or 8 to like they're 50 pros.
Jesus.
If that makes sense.
50 pros?
Well, there's a lot. I
So
mean,
let's-
like,
hold on.
back
No,
then.
I get what you're saying.
Because like there's a lot of them down there, and I was only at the Hyena Club. There's a whole lot more down there. Because I mean, Dallas is technically 2 cities. Because you also have Fort Worth
Yeah.
also, and like and there's also an improv in Fort Worth. There's also an improv also in Dallas, and so they all do that.
Is that the
also.
same owners that own the improv in LA, I wonder?
I don't think so. I
Okay.
don't know, but they all have the same signs on the background.
Like the same logo or whatnot? I wonder.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's the same.
I don't know. Maybe it's just like a thing that all the improvs do. I don't know. I mean, why do all comedy clubs call themselves comedy clubs?
True,
It's kind of like the same thing.
But there's only one comedy store.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can name it whatever you want to,
Yeah.
but they all have their own like hierarchies and whatnot. I guess. I
I'm
don't know.
excited for the 3 Cube show tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I wanted to go, but I'm
You're
not
not-
going to be able to because I got to go back home, and then I think I gotta go to Texas for a little bit.
Damn, son. You gonna do comedy down there while you're there, or?
No, I'm just meeting my dad down there because my little sister came up for the weekend. So
I remember you mentioning that. So
yeah, so I gotta go to Texas and then drop her off and then come back.
Well, I appreciate you making the trip up here for this podcast.
I've
fun.
got time. I mean, I'm not necessarily a good guest.
Yeah,
right
I
now
mean,
'cause I'm a little
I'm
sleep
just
deprived.
Oh, trust me, Malachi and I are both sleep deprived. This is amazing. No, so you say your first comedian that you really got into was fucking Fluffy.
Like that was the first one like who I watched, but he wasn't like my biggest influence.
I was just about to ask who's the biggest influence for you.
For me, like when I first started was Mitch Hedberg because
Okay.
of just he had a really unique way of how he wrote and he told jokes, you know, and just like the way that like he constructed them and how he delivered them and stuff, and you can like tell it's like his style was very unique, but his stuff was like really goofy,
Right.
you know. It was like almost on the edge of like dad humor, but it wasn't. You know, it was really relatable to a lot of potheads and stuff, I guess. But it was really easy to like see how he did jokes, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So like you can, cause like going back, like whenever I was trying to figure out comedy, I was working at a golf course and I was like, man, I want to do stand up comedy, you know. And like senior year of high school, I was like, man, I want to do stand up, and like throughout high school, I wanted to, and like you know how like everyone feels like they have the right to be funny, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a lot of people, but I don't think I felt that way, but like I knew it was funny, and I wanted to like use, I don't know how to say it, like try and figure out how to fucking do it, but I didn't understand, like I didn't know that it was gonna be fucking stand up, but senior year I knew I wanted to fucking do it, but I didn't do it until like 3 months later.
When did you
GM,
start?
At the end of July.
So you started around
So it
the
was
same
almost
time
like-
as me, basically.
Yeah. But
So we started in the roughest part with COVID and everything.
actually, I think because of COVID, I think that we should consider ourselves lucky
That's
because
what
a lot
I
of
was
comedians
thinking.
decided to stay home. You know.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Jake,
Good for all of those people for staying at home
right?
and
Jake,
letting us.
I had Jake Bassey on, and he's like, "God, man, that's rough starting around COVID." And I was like, "Yes and no,"
it
because
opened a lot of stuff for people like me or you, or people who are just trying to start out because it gives us spots at places.
right, yeah. I noticed last night. I saw a few new faces. I'm like, "Who is that?" And they're like, "Oh,
There's a
he
lot of
hasn't
new
been in the.
people.
He hasn't. Well, some of them were like from a few years ago, or haven't come around because of COVID.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, oh,
A lot of people
cool,
kind of
like-
just use COVID as like an excuse not to do anything.
right. And I'm like, wear a mask. Let's go do
Yeah.
this. You know.
But what's it called? Yeah, I knew I wanted to do comedy, and like I was working at the golf course, and I didn't know how to like write jokes or anything. I kind of just thought whatever came to my head was funny, and that's like what I would use. And I knew like stealing jokes and everything was like bad. You had to be very original.
Right.
And like I was trying to understand comedy, and I was watching a lot of it. And I remember I told my boss's wife, I was like, man, I want to do comedy. And she's like, oh, you do? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, oh, tell me a joke. And I like tell her a joke, and she wouldn't laugh, and she'd be like, oh, that's not funny. You know? I was like, oh, okay. Neat. And she was like, oh, talk to Russ. He used to do stuff in LA. He used to be like a talent manager for the Improv down there. So like he met Jim Carrey and like Ellen DeGeneres and stuff.
Oh. Wow.
So he worked with them, and I mean, at least that's what he told me. But I mean, I want to believe him. What's it called? So I went and I talked to him, and I was like, man, I want to do comedy. He's like, oh, you do? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, all right, give me 5 minutes or whatever, and I'll say whether or not you're like pretty good at it or whatever. I didn't fucking understand comedy. So, like, I went home that night, I wrote, like, 5 jokes, because writing comedy is pretty hard. It's just a long-ass process, and that's kind of, like, what I've had to develop as I've been doing comedy.
Yeah.
And I go back to him, and I tell him my jokes that morning, and I think one of them made him laugh a little bit, but he was like, yeah, all those jokes are shitty, too, I was like, oh, okay, and...
Well, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, but he eventually, like, he showed me how to write jokes, and he showed me, like, the 1, 2, 3 process.
Yeah.
And then he showed me, like, a bunch of different comedians, and he showed me Stephen Wright, Mark Norman, and stuff. And then eventually, like, a few months after that, I figured out who Mitch Hedberg was, and then a bigger influence at the end of my senior year of high school was a comedian named Craig Conant, who's based out in Los Angeles, and he's a really funny dude. And, like, I watched him do it, and I was like, oh, man, this guy used to do drugs and stuff. So it's like I can relate to him, and that's how I related to Mitch Hedberg. But he taught me how to, like, do comedy and stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. I'm going to go home, and I'm going to figure this shit out.
Right.
And, like, I just started writing a shit ton, and, like, I worked there for almost a year. I want to say about, like, 9 months, and I think in May, I got fired or whatever, but we're still really good buddies and stuff, and I still visit him and tell him how comedy's doing for me.
You got let go because of COVID, I'm assuming? Or
No, I showed up late for like a whole week straight.
God damn it.
And if you work at a golf course, you have to get up at like 6 o'clock in the
Yeah,
morning
because
every
the
morning.
tee times and everything.
Yeah,
So I got you.
I was the cart boy, so I would set up the whole range at like 7 o'clock every morning.
Oh.
I set up all the golf carts. I would do all the laundry. I would do like everything
Wait,
for all the morning
what is
people.
laundry for
Like,
a golf course?
Towels and stuff. Mostly,
okay.
mostly just all.
This is a nice golf course then, because I go to golf courses. They don't give you towels.
It's the territory golf course. It's like top. It's
It's
number
like almost
7.
PGA, isn't it?
Yeah, they do a lot of college tournaments,
Okay.
and then they do like business tournaments.
Okay, I know there's a PGA course in Tulsa, I believe. Tiger Woods came
Yeah.
a few years ago.
He did.
Actually, I guess a long time ago.
I know that golf course that I worked at is the 7th best golf course in the state of Oklahoma. It's ranked within the top 10. It's a pretty good golf
So
course.
it's pretty
I love working
expensive.
there.
It's pretty expensive too.
Yeah, trust me, it's pretty expensive.
It's an expensive sport, period. So
Yeah, I mean, I think it was like to play like a round of golf or something. I think just for you, I think it was like $150 just for you. I think, and then like for a membership,
Jesus.
I think like a 3-year membership is like 5,000 or something like that.
Jesus, dude.
Something like I don't know the whole.
No, I
but
get
it's
it,
a
but
really
it's-
nice golf course.
It's a nice golf course. It's an expensive sport.
Very
I don't
expensive
do it.
sport.
I lose so when I go
never been a
golfing, I
golf
lose my
person.
temper. I am the Happy Gilmore on the golf course. I
Are
just
you?
oh, dude,
I don't know. I can't. Golf's not my thing.
If
so
I don't
play.
if I don't shoot an eagle on every hole, then I'm just like motherfucker.
I wouldn't worry about it. I just treat it as just a big ass fucking
I also
putt thing.
yeah,
Just
I also
outside
drink a
putt-putt
lot.
is what
I
I
drink
call it.
when I used to golf. I drink all the time. I just back fuck it.
You'll be surprised. Everyone drinks when they go golfing.
Exactly.
They all do that.
Well,
They
I
all-
mean,
they all drink.
they got cute little beer girls running around the golf course. I don't know
Yeah,
about
they have
that,
that.
but
Yeah, they do
yeah,
have that.
and they're always cute girls. It's like, do you want beer? And you're like, yeah, I do. It's hot.
Yeah,
It's
they get a lot
refreshing.
of tips. I know that. I think we only had one, but what's it called? But yeah, I worked at that golf course. I got fired in May, and then my uncle, who's the general manager at you might want to bleep that out. I don't know.
We can do that.
Because he's family. But he gave me a job like right after I got fired. Like 2 days later, I got another job working at Apple. And what's it called? Like I was starting to get really like swirled in the comedy.
Right.
And then at the end of July, or towards the end of July, I was like, man, I really, really, really want to do comedy. I don't know where I do open mics and stuff. Because apparently that's what they say it starts, And you know, they always say stuff like, "Oh man, you already have to like know people to make it," you know. But
Yeah.
like I've learned, it's just all about being lucky and getting really good at the craft. You know,
I think it takes luck and your craft. Like
I think it involves both and just being at the right place at the right time.
exactly.
And then if you do meet,
The right
Art
people.
Shafir gave this great advice out. I think he has like this whole like 4 hour thing on YouTube. But he said like if you ever meet like your idols or like big comics and stuff, just don't be weird around them. Just be a cool dude.
Yeah,
just be nice.
that's not gonna happen for me. If I meet Bert
I get
Kreischer, I'm gonna
starstruck.
freak the fuck
Because
out.
I met T.J. Miller once doing comedy and I was
How was that?
starstruck.
How
That was
you
crazy.
just-
That was
See, if I
crazy.
had met T.J. Miller, I would be like, "What's Ryan
That
Reynolds
was
like?"
that was only like 2 months into me doing comedy, which was crazy. But I what's it called? I emailed the comedy club in Bricktown because I was like, man, I really want to do this. So I emailed, and then I think it was like a couple days later I got something back because I was like, man, do you guys have open mics or whatever? And she was like, yeah. I got a reply back, and they're like, yeah, we do Wednesdays, and if you get there at like 5, you can probably be on the list. And I was like, oh, cool.
That right.
And I left mega early. I think I left my house at like 3 o'clock, and I got there at 5. And they said that like there was a high chance I was gonna be put on that night, and then I did get on, and that felt great. Like whenever I go on Bricktown, because it's like that it's real professional. Like all the other guys who come through that city, all the headliners, they all do it. It feels difficult. It feels way more difficult there than it does at any other one.
Right.
Because you know, like most of the people at those other open mics. But for me, it's just like it feels so much more open when you're at the comedy club, and then like you have like legit lights, so it feels like real damn bright.
Right.
And you can't see shit, and then there's just sometimes there's a lot of people.
That gives me
sometimes there's not.
anxiety when I can't see anything. Like at
Or you
Kendo's,
just
they have
stand back. Or you just do this for a second, and then you can see people.
right at Kendo's, like they still have lights on you, but they're not like stage lights. They're just stripper lights.
Yeah, so you can still just see, you know.
Right, you can see the crowd and everything, and you can pick who you want to look at. That's what I do. I try to focus on someone in the crowd. So when I'm at the comedy club, the lights are straight in my eyes, and like you said,
Best
do the
thing
whole
to do is
thing.
just to stand back a little bit. That's what Liz told me. Who's the GM? She's the one who actually sent that email back to me. I think the third time I ever did stand up was at the Bricktown Club, because I went 3 streaks,
Damn,
3 weeks straight, and I think I bombed for the first time.
We all bomb though.
It made me feel so bad. Like I felt like as if I died on stage. Like I felt so dead.
I've
I
done
felt
that a
so
lot of times.
embarrassed. It made me feel so bad, and like I remember like I was crying a little bit on the way home, and
I cry every single time I drive home. Malachi can vouch for that.
Don't do that. Like it's all a process. It's all part of what you're doing, you know.
Yeah.
But I told myself, I was like, man, I'm never gonna bomb like that again. I told myself, I was like, man, I'm gonna become the greatest comedian there ever was.
And that should be your mindset.
That was my mindset, and then I came back the next week, and I absolutely fucking destroyed it. Like I absolutely killed it. Like I probably have never felt like that feeling. Like I could have said anything, and they would have laughed. Because I came back, I prepared.
Who went
I
up?
wrote more.
What spot were you? Because you also have to think of all the other comedians before you. So like,
I think Aaron White was hosting it that night. I think.
Okay.
I know the first time I did it,
It's based off the host too. Like the host gives off a good vibe. It will help you with the crowd. Also, who goes up in front of you, gives off a good vibe. It helps you as well. Like last night.
It really just depends on the
I'm
crowd,
really
though.
proud of my set last night because everyone reverberated off of my set.
Yeah.
So like I brought up.
I know a lot of people like to use you as a punching bag, and I can understand that, but I'm
definitely
only because like of you like stealing professionals' material.
Right, like I was I use I talked about being peers. Like I see everyone as a peer in the comedy scene. I thought it was always competition, but for me, I'm at that point where I'm just like, I want to help you guys. That's why I have this podcast. So I see you as my peers.
I view everyone as an equal.
After I went up, I kind of set the pace for everyone because everyone mentioned either, a little bit of or, they'd play off the whole peers. Like, yeah, we are peers, or no, we're not peers. You're my competition kind of stuff. Like
I hate that. I don't like viewing people as competition.
No.
Like I can see it if like you're viewing as somebody as like man, I want to get as good as him,
Right.
or even better. But I don't view it as competition because then I feel like that kind of just defeats the purpose.
right.
Because we all should. In the comedy industry, I think we should all help each other, like
Exactly.
push each other to improve and stuff.
Right, right.
And help each other out with like gigs and whatnot. But don't hold that above people and be like, or do things for people and expect it as like a favor or something. They owe you something
Right.
back, which is kind of messed
This
up.
this podcast is not about favors. It's literally just getting your name out, helping you with whatever you need. Like if you want a Netflix special, hopefully Netflix sees this and it's like he's funny, and checks your material out and whatnot. And
maybe somebody finds this. I don't know. I like it. Then again, I still don't feel like
we
a
have
great guest.
2 subscribers. No, I'm just kidding.
2 subscribers. I was gonna ask you like.
Or
how
I
many
think
monthly
we're
listeners
at
do you get?
13 subscribers on the YouTube, and then I have about 500 listeners
500 listeners
at least right now.
Oh wow!
So
Very impressive.
for audio wise, we got a fan base because we've stretched all the way to Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
That's
Did I say that
crazy.
weird? I did say that weird. Anyways. And
shout out
the
to-
Philippines. So
hell
shout out
yeah,
to those
shout
two.
out to the biggest NBA basketball fans there is.
My worry is Washington, D.C. is on there. So,
Washington D.C.
Yeah, they're listening
hell
in.
yeah.
So,
Yeah,
that's good.
Biden's a pretty shitty president. I'll tell you that right now. I voted for that man.
Can I ask why, just out of curiosity?
Why did I vote for him? I voted for him because I don't.
I'm not.
Oh man,
I'm not
this
trying to
puts
put
me
you
in
in a
bad
corner.
Situation.
I-
Oh man.
All right,
I'm gonna start
moving on.
Start losing all my fans, man.
Moving on.
Oh boy, I'll start losing all of them.
No, I voted for the opposite person.
You voted for Trump?
I did.
You
I
did?
did.
I mean, most of my family voted for him.
Well, my point was like I actually got policies from Trump, and all I got from Biden was the children. They love to rub my blonde hair and all that, and I'm just like, that's
That is in
great,
the
dude.
pool.
Right? Yeah, that's great. I'm proud that you like doing that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm. It's funny because people call me like a liberal or something, but I don't call myself a liberal. I view myself as a little bit for. I mean, I don't like the Democratic Party or anything. It's just like I don't like the Trump's direction or whatever. I mean, you can hate me for it.
No,
I'm an
I was
idiot.
just curious about it. I just.
Oh man, I shouldn't talk. I don't talk about politics.
I don't.
and comedy or-
I try to stray very softly with it with my comedian buddies. Like if they want to talk about it, we can talk about it. If they don't, we can move on. It is what it is. So
Yeah.
I was just curious. I mean, it is what it is.
I don't. I'll say this right now, man. I'll be honest. I don't like either of the two. But I did vote for him, and Biden is disappointing to say the least. But
I think
didn't
every
really-
president has their flaws.
I didn't
So-
really expect anything from him. I thought he'd be quite conservative. I thought. I didn't think he was going to be anything great. I mean, my guy was Andrew Yang, but now he's running for mayor of New York City, which is pretty dope.
Really?
Yeah, he's running
Okay.
for mayor of New York.
My-
They're
my-
asking the current mayor of New York City to step down because of sexual assault allegations.
Cuomo?
Yeah, Cuomo.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it was a big hot
Who's the
topic this
governor
morning.
of New York? Because isn't he in trouble too?
Wait, is that the same guy?
Everybody's in trouble.
I mean,
They're all in trouble. Well,
Andrew
the current
Cuomo,
mayor is what I'm trying
and then
to say.
Bill
De Blasio.
that's the mayor, I believe, and then
Is he, or
Andrew
is that the
Cuomo.
billionaire?
Probably both.
Are they both billionaires?
I
Both
think
billionaires.
Bill. Well,
I'm
that's
just
not
saying the
that's not
current.
even his real name.
I just want to say the current
So-
mayor of New York City.
I think that's Bill de Blasio, whatever you.
I don't know.
Yeah, and then
I
Andrew
really
Cuomo, I believe, is the governor. I'm not entirely sure. It might be the other way around, but either way, that's cool. Andrew Yang is running for mayor of New York.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
See, my guy didn't
They
stand
have
a
him.
chance.
They have him favorited to win mayor too, on the polls and stuff. I never believe in polls. Because I'll be honest, like I thought Trump was gonna win. The first turn, like the first time, I was like, man, I'm pretty sure he's gonna win this, and then he did. I wasn't really surprised. But I mean, I didn't think he was gonna like he's had too much media attention on him and stuff, you know. So like, I didn't think he was gonna win his second term.
Oh,
God
excuse me.
bless you.
My guy didn't stand a chance. I
He
was
was a good
gonna
guy.
vote for him because he was on the ballot, but I figured I'm in a red state. I might as well just throw my vote out into the world. I
Might as
wanted
well
Kanye.
try.
I wanted Kanye West.
You want Kanye West? I don't want Kanye West.
Well,
I don't want
I
him.
listened to Kanye on Joe
yeah.
Rogan, and I was like, I don't agree with a lot of what you're saying, but at the same time, I do. Like, a lot needs to change with our
Yeah,
country. And he was talking about, like, it needs to go back to God
I'll
or
tell
to
you that.
religion and everything. And I was like, we
No,
have
thanks.
lost our we have lost
No,
our views
thanks.
with it. So that was just my opinion.
Oh,
on that.
religion? We're losing religion.
I feel like God's abandoned the world, but that's my opinion.
I don't think so. I think God is in each and every one of us, and yeah, you improve yourself how you should. You know what I'm saying?
You want to hit this? I saw you look at it.
No, I have cigarettes, but I know I can't smoke it in here.
I know. I apologize.
See a lot of green in this room.
Right, the Healy cast, THC, right there, bro.
Oh, wow! So do you have a back room?
Nah, well,
it's a house.
it's a house. We have plenty of rooms.
Oh, okay.
Ah.
Yeah, I don't do drugs. I was just asking.
Getting to that age where I could be a dad, so
Yeah.
yeah, you know, I take care of my lawn still.
Wait, how old are you?
I'm 26.
You're 26.
Yeah.
Oh, you still got time not
I
to
got
be a
4.
dad.
I got 4 years.
I don't know if I want to be a dad. I'm gonna be quite honest.
Why is that?
Too much responsibility.
It is a lot of responsibility, but I dated a kid or a wow.
Wow.
Wow. Definitely editing that out. No, I dated a girl.
Oh, boy.
I dated a girl with a kid. And like my instincts just kicked in immediately for that whole situation. So like I know I can be a dad. The thing is the whole finance part is scary. And that's
Finance.
being financially stable and like
For me, I wouldn't have a kid until I felt like I was like in a position to really have one because
Exactly.
I want to be able to because like growing up I didn't have a whole lot. I kind of like my house wasn't amazing or nothing. It really was not. It was quite the opposite. But I want to be able to spoil him and give him everything that like I didn't have.
Right,
You know.
yeah.
So like he can have like all the years that should have been like how I envisioned it. Like I want them to have it. You know.
you have to be careful
Like
with
have a
that too.
car
You
when they're
can't
16 and stuff.
right.
Not a brand new BMW. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Absolutely not. You're giving a 16-year-old a $500,000 vehicle. That's ridiculous. I see.
$500,000. Oh,
Hear me
you
out.
predicting something?
So I went to Stillwater High School, and a lot of the kids that went to my school, their dads are football or work, and they have the newest vehicle, the brand like that year vehicle. I'm just like,
Okay.
you're giving a 16-year-old a brand new 2014 Ford F-150 King Ranch. Like,
Yeah, I see that with like a lot. Like there's people that I've met who are like 18, 17, 16 who have like mega expensive cars. You know.
Yeah.
Because I graduated. So like I lived in Dallas. Like I'm from Dallas. But when I was like a sophomore in high school, I moved to Norman, and I did my junior and senior year there. And Norman North is where all like the athletes went. That's where Trae Young went, and that's where Bob Stoops kids went.
Yep.
But Norman was more academically inclined, and
Yeah,
then Norman North
Stillwater's
was more
not like-
sporty inclined. So like they got all their money from sports and stuff, and we had it the other way. But we had like rich kids there too. I remember there was this girl. her parents were like millionaires or something or whatever, and she would come to school in a Maserati. And she'd drive that shit around, and I knew she had a Tesla too. I think she drove there.
God.
And then there was I can't remember. I think this kid's name was Aaron, and his dad bought him a brand new BMW, but it wasn't like any other BMW. It was like what's it called? It was like almost to that level of like sports car, like not super sport, but it was like almost on that level. Like it didn't have like the same body style as like all the other black BMWs that you see.
It looked more sporty and.
Yeah, I don't know what it was.
I don't know my cars either. It's fine.
I don't know cars.
I wash cars. And
I'm
I don't
having
know
a
my
mechanic
cars.
look at mine. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even change my own oil. I don't know what I'm doing.
I used to change my own oil, and then I was like, I don't want to work on cars anymore.
You just take it to Walmart for $25.
Yeah, I mean, so I work at a dealership. Just
You
down the
work at a
road.
dealership?
Yeah,
Do you
and
sell cars?
I don't. I wash cars.
You wash
I'm a detailer.
cars.
I'm the only detailer there. That's my full time job. Congratulations,
sounds
guys! You know
nice.
my real life. But
Oh, man, I work off tips. I work as a slave to the corporations. You know.
damn.
Yep. That's a lot of fun.
What do you do?
I basically just bust tables and seat people.
That's fun.
No,
I've been there
It's
before.
not-
I've been there
not
before. I
really.
work for Texas Roadhouse. I've been there.
it's all right. I love my coworkers. That's what makes it all worth it for me.
Yeah, definitely. If you have good coworkers, then the job is enjoyable.
And I love my uncle, so I hope he don't fire me. You know. Well, I missed a meeting that we had on Saturday.
Oh no.
Yeah, and I was up at like 8:00 in the morning when the meeting was supposed to happen, and I forgot that we were having the meeting, and I missed it. So I don't know what to expect when I go back, but it's whatever, you know. It's
I hope it's whatever, man. You've been doing comedy for about the same time as I have.
About 7 months,
Right.
but I don't really count. There was like a month and a half where I didn't do comedy because I got arrested.
That's right. That's
Yeah, I got a whole
part
bit
of
about
your
that.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a bit about that. That was fun. Cause now we go back to the T.J. Miller thing, and then like me doing comedy. Like I was like 2 months in, you know.
Right.
And what's it called? I was at Sauce before it blew up, and I was gonna be able to do a set there or whatever, and there was like these, you know how like they had those fucking lights going off everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, like we were in like a little rave or something.
Right. Yeah.
It was fucking with my head, and it was like messing with me because it was making me feel nauseous. So right before I was gonna go outside, I was sitting with Andrew Lake, and Adrian comes down the hallway and he comes to us and he's like, "Hey, TJ Miller's here." And we're like, "What? TJ Miller's here?" He's like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Oh man, I was about to go outside anyway." And I kind of like I make my way outside, and I was like looking around because I was like, "Oh man, where is this dude?" You know.
Right.
And I can just hear him to my right, and this man is just standing to my right. I'm like, "Oh my god, he is here," but he's a little away from me, so he can't hear me.
Right.
You know. And
You kind of fanned out there.
I didn't faint. Like I was just like, "Oh my god, oh my god."
Right.
A dude who does movies is here. You know. Like this guy's been on the big screen.
I love how you do the hands. Just oh my god.
Well, I was like,
Yeah,
I was
get-
starstruck,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
because I watched this dude, and I what's it called? 2 months before, I binge watched Silicon Valley, and he was
Oh,
on that.
yeah.
I binge watched that, and I watched the final season. Yeah, like I watched all of it, and so like I was like real hyped up on him already, and I go back inside. I go do my set. It was all right. And then I go back into like the bar area, and he's in the bar area, and I was like, oh my god, I don't know what to do. Like I want to say something, but I don't know how, you know.
Right.
And so like I'm just kind of just like, you know, just looking around, you know. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, and
Play it cool.
yeah, I was talking to Andrew, whatever. We were talking about something, and I was like, man, I really want to talk to him. He's like, have you never talked to a celebrity before? I'm like, no.
Wait, has Andrew talked to a celebrity before?
He's met Bill Burr and Joe Rogan. He's met both of those guys.
We gotta get Andrew on here then. Holy
did,
cow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think he met them like after a show once, which is pretty cool.
Those are pretty big comedians there.
Yeah, he met them, and he was like, "Yeah, they're just normal people." And I'm like, "You're wrong. These dudes are like a whole like level above us,
Right.
man. Like, if you ever read Greek mythology, these guys are the real deal, you know?"
Right. Yep.
But like, what stung me the most is that T.J. Miller is really tall. He's a big
Is he?
dude. Yeah, like even his shoes are like probably the size of this table.
Jesus.
I don't know. No, but
in all the
big.
in all the movies he doesn't look like a big guy.
He's a big guy.
Yeah.
He's big. What's it called? I talked to the GM of the comedy club, Liz. She was there, and what's it called? I was like, "Oh my God, TJ is here," and she's like, "Yeah, I know, I brought him." I was like, "Oh, okay." I kind of want to like meet him. She's like, "Oh, you want to meet him?" And I was like, or I don't think I said that. She was like, "Do you want to meet him?" I was like, "Yeah, I want to meet him." You know, and she was like, "Oh, okay, come on with me." And at like that point, he's like in the back of the bar talking to some dude.
Right.
And we walk over there, and we're kind of just like, don't know what we're doing. We're kind of just,
Right.
you know,
Just
he's
waiting
talking
your
to
turn,
some other
right.
dude. And eventually, like they're done with the conversation, or whatever. And he looks at Liz and goes, "Oh, hey, Liz," and she goes, "Hey, this is Chandler. He really wanted to meet you, Chandler, TJ Chandler." And he looked at me, and he looks down at me because he's a Greek god.
Just looking up. He's a Greek god.
Basically, yeah.
I got you.
And he looked down at me, and he just looks at me, and he just bows. And I didn't know what to do, so I just bowed back. And that was basically me, like, getting introduced to him. And then we didn't talk. He just kept talking to the dude that he was talking to.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God. You know? It's like I just communicated with
T.J. Miller.
with a god. So I kind of like shiver off, and I was talking to Andrew or whatever, and TJ goes into like the room where they're doing
The sets
the
and
open
everything.
mic.
Yeah.
And like I didn't want to be the guy who didn't have any balls, and like I thought of something that I wanted to say, and like right when he walks past me, he's going into that room. I go, "Hey TJ," and he turns around really fast, and he starts looking back down at me again because he's really tall, and he goes, "Yeah," or whatever, and he's holding a drink. I go, "I wish I could have been at your show tonight, but I was doing this instead." I didn't know what to say. I just forgot, and I laughed it off a little bit, like I was like a crackhead or something. And he goes, "Oh, do you want to come to my show?" And I was like, "Sure, yeah, I guess so." And he's like, "Oh, talk to Liz. You can come to my show." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool."
Whoa.
I was like, "Wow,
That's
okay."
awesome.
And I remember like I was freaking out, and I go outside and I talked to one of the bartenders from the comedy club. She was there, and I was like, "Man, I feel like I was just really weird to TJ Miller." She was like, "Oh, what'd you do?" or whatever, and I was like, and I told her what happened, and she was like, "Oh no, you're not weird. He's a cool dude." Like I was talking to him at the comedy club and everything because he had a couple of shows that night.
Right.
And she was like, "Oh no, he's a really cool dude. You weren't weird or whatever." And I was like, "Are you sure?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh, I mean, okay."
Well, that was when Sauce was still at Thursday nights, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was still on Thursday nights.
Okay.
And then Marty Johnson was there, and I was talking to him, and then we were just talking about comedy or whatever. And then I told him what TJ said about going to like one of his shows, and he was like, "Oh, he said that?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "I don't know where Liz is." And he's like, "Oh, okay, let's go find her." And so he drags me through the
TJ does or Marty?
Marty.
Okay.
Drags me through the bar, drags me through, and then he taps on Liz or whatever, and she's sitting next to TJ, and she gets up, she comes over, and she goes, oh my god, what happened? I was like, "Oh, nothing. TJ said I could come to the show or whatever." She was like, "Oh, really?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she pulls out her phone, she puts me down, and then a +1, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's fucking awesome. And what's it called? I think it was like 10 minutes later, I see that bartender lady again. I can't remember her name. I feel like an asshole. And she goes, "Hey, I talked to TJ about you." I was like, "Why would you do that?"
Why would you do?
I was like, "Why? Out of all the things you could have talked to anyone about, why'd you do that with TJ?"
I would have totally just probably talked about Deadpool. That's all I would have talked.
He probably hears that shit all the time.
I'm sure he does, but like me being me, I've been like, so I know you're tall. I know you're a comedian. What's Ryan Reynolds like?
Ryan Reynolds like, I don't. That's a good question. Your face probably melts from his beauty. That's probably what I'm thinking. But
Not in Deadpool, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
yeah, but I talked to her and she was like, "Yeah, I told TJ about you." And I was like, "What? Really? Like, what'd he say? I guess or whatever." And she was like, "Oh, he said you're." I was like, "Hey, TJ, remember the guy, long hair, glasses, or whatever?" And he was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Oh, he thought you're." He was like weird towards you or whatever. And apparently, she was like, "Ah, TJ said that you were the sweetest, most genuine, kindest guy that
Aw.
he had met." And I was like, "That's bullshit. Like, there's no way that this man just said that about me." You know.
That's sweet of TJ to say
That was
that.
like really. I was like, oh, that's nice. That's really cool, whatever. And then, like later that night, like I watched him do a set, just all improv, because he's
Just
great at
off
that.
the whim and everything, huh?
Yeah, he's amazing at that. He's very good at. He's very talented. He's very great. He's done a lot in comedy for a long time.
I
He's
heard
amazing at it.
TJ officially said our comedy scene was lit thanks to and John's little actions in the alley.
Oh, really? Wait, he watched that?
He didn't watch it, but
He just
apparently,
heard about it?
like someone said, "Oh yeah, two comics are fighting in the alley." He like turned around. He's like, "This scene is lit," like,
Oh, wow.
and I'm pretty sure he's from Chicago. I'm like, "There's drive-bys everywhere in
lot.
Chicago, so
I
like,
think
how
that's-
is that not?"
I don't know.
lit?
That's everywhere in Chicago, but
Probably not, but I mean, I've never been to Chicago, so
heard
sorry,
Chicago's pretty
Chicagoans.
cool.
My bad.
I met some people from Chicago recently.
I'd like to go to Chicago.
Some
Just
nice people.
there's a comedy club up there that I really want to check out. The Second City.
There's a lot of people I hear from Chicago, so I mean, eventually I want to go check it out. I want to tour the United States whenever I get.
It's just
get
about to
that
ask
stage
you,
of comedy.
what's your plan with comedy?
I mean, I want
You
to.
want to do it full time eventually?
Yeah, I want to do it full time. Like I'm working on comedy like all the time. I'm writing all the time. Like I'm constantly doing it. I do it every single week, or at least I try to. Like I want to do, like Bill Burr said, to do it at least like 7 times a week, but because of like my situation and the comedy scene in Oklahoma, I'm only able to do it 4 times a week. So I do it every Wednesday and Thursday. I do the comedy club on Wednesday. I always show up early as fuck to try and get a spot.
Do you not sign up online?
No, I sign up online. I'm just like, whenever
I
I'm not
got
on the
you.
list, I show up early
I
as
got
shit to get on. And usually, mostly I do. But
Where do you live in this? Like, not specifically in the city, but do you live in the city or outside?
outside,
Is it
I
still a
live,
drive for you?
I live in Duncan, which is about
Holy
45 minutes
cow.
away from Lawton. So it's only like an hour and a half from Oklahoma City.
Okay, so you're about the same distance. Well,
Same
a little
distance
longer.
from here.
A little longer.
Yeah, it's
It's
only
about
about
an-
like probably 30 minutes longer.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Damn.
I enjoy the drive though. But I do it every Wednesday and Thursday, and I do 2 mics on each night.
Have you done the? So you do new shit then?
Yeah, I do new
Okay.
shit.
I was gonna
I do that
ask.
all the
Have you
time.
ever tried the loony bin yet?
No, I hear they're like real strict on things, so I haven't gone there.
Like you can't really curse on it, but I feel like that's
Yeah, I hear you
probably
haven't cursed.
that's a good workshop.
But
for,
I'm not I'm not 21, so
Oh,
yeah,
I did not know that.
yeah, I'm 20. I just turned 20 in January.
Wow,
Yeah, it's great though that most people
That's-
think I'm older.
yeah.
It's a benefit for what I do.
I did not know
Because I
that.
hang out at all those bars and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I was doing that like 6 months before I turned 20, so I was like 19 hanging out at all those
Damn.
bars and stuff.
At J.
I tell people that, and they're like, "Oh, what a badass," Not really.
Not really.
No, I don't really think about it like that. But I'm just there strictly to do comedy. Like I don't drink alcohol. I don't do drugs. I don't do any of that. I just do strictly comedy because that's all I want. I really want it. Like I'm writing a shit ton all the time. I have like a whole process to it. But yeah, I do it 4 times a week at the very minimum. I've traveled to Dallas to do comedy. I think the biggest influence on me though, like doing comedy, is Gary. Biggest influence on me.
He's a good comic.
He's a good comic. He's great.
I feel like you guys are similar.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think I understand a lot more than I understand most people in that scene. But out a lot. Like he's helped me. Like he's encouraged me. And he's what's it called? He was trying to help me a lot in like trying to like speak up. Cause like I had a hard time with that.
with your voice and everything, kind of
Yeah,
like
just
more.
like try to speak up more, you know, because like he was like, man, if you're doing like
You-
a
you-
show here, like you're gonna need to speak up because of like the amount of people, you know.
you also have to put emphasis behind your voice too.
Yeah, you
like,
gotta do emphasis and
yeah.
stuff. But I mean, that's helped me a lot because it's helped me just grow as a better comic. And what's it called? I Liz helped me like how to like hold a microphone, like how to hold it closer to me and stuff. And we had like a mic that wasn't hooked up, and she helped me like how I wanted to position it.
Right.
She was like saying, but like
because you don't
This
want to block
comic
your
over
face
here.
as well. People
Yeah, you don't
should
wanna
see
block
your
your face.
face,
Well,
but
yeah.
it needs to be close enough that people can hear
Yeah,
you.
she
still.
says like because I know that there's like different ways of like using the microphone for stand up, and
Right.
that's kind of like its own talent, you know. But I kind of like you see people that hold it like this or they hold it like this. I kind of like tend to hold it just at an angle, just
Right.
closer to my mouth, and I try and just emphasize more.
Definitely.
That's what I do. That I've
I
started
definitely
doing.
use the mic as a prop. Like when I don't get a laugh or when I do get big laughs, I just bang it on my leg, or not hard, but just kind of like, pat it on my leg, like, like that was funny.
Yeah,
If you didn't think it was funny, I think it was funny.
I haven't done that. I kind of just lean back. Is what I do.
I there's so much critiquing to being a comic. Like how are you going to use the stage? How are you going to use the mic? Like you can do a lot.
Yeah,
as
it's
a
always
comedian.
scary.
Yeah.
It's always scary. Like, there's been times when I go to Kindles because either like one night you're lucky and that place is actually filled with people, or it's just mostly comics.
Last
Some-
night it was
some
pretty
nights,
filled.
Some nights there's like mostly comics just in the back, or and then there's like no one watching, or they're all in the showroom and they're all watching.
Right.
And then there's like a bunch of other people who aren't comics and they're there. So it's like it scares me. It's like, man, I don't want to do same shit, or I don't want to do this stuff that I know is gonna work. I want to try and do my new shit and do jokes that I haven't done in a while. It's basically like how I do it. Like
It's a mix of old art and new art.
yeah. I think the only time like I'll use same shit is at the comedy club, but even then like I try and always do new stuff. Like I'll do like probably like 4 or 5 brand new ones, or maybe less, and then I'll do my opener and then my second joke after that as like my closers. It's like my final jokes.
I'm trying to
That's what I've been doing lately.
remember which comedian said it. I can't remember his name, but he said when you do go on stage, excuse me, your set is your backup. So basically go
Yeah, you
out
can do
there,
that, yeah.
go out there with
That's some good
your new
advice.
stuff. Use your new stuff. If it's not killing, you have your original stuff that you know can work, and you can pull that out of your ass
Yeah,
and
you
just
need to. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you feel like you don't want to suffer, you know.
Exactly.
But I feel like bombing is a part of it, you know, which is great. I mean,
it's great for our confidence.
well, no, I think it's great because it helps us like mold better. You know, it's like okay,
Absolutely.
maybe this joke needs more time, or maybe this joke's just bad. You know, because I've written like a shit ton, and there's a lot of jokes like within like the last few months that I've noticed that like I haven't told in a while. Like which is good because it means that like you're improving and you're adding more.
Exactly. Yeah. So like, I don't think you can always stay on old material. Like,
No, I don't like
There's
that.
also time limits on certain material. Like like for my abduction joke. Like, remember how I had an abduction joke about Wayfair and everything? When I first told it, it actually kind of boomed because Wayfair was under investigation of, shipping children or whatnot. So that was the whole premise. But I told it maybe a month or two ago, and I didn't get any laughs. And it's because that time has passed. No one's really understanding that anymore, Like, the Bush administration. It's hard to make fun of the Bush administration during today's time. I mean, you
Yeah.
can still make fun of it, but just not as much as you would want to during the Bush administration at that time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I get that. I mean, you always got to stay like up to date with things. That's why it's
Yeah.
always great to.
That's why it's great to have presidents. I love it.
Well, no, I think it's great to always have personal material. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, it's always good to have stuff that's about you or a story that you have that happened to you, you know?
Exactly.
Or you know, or maybe it didn't happen to you, but you watched it happen. It's always good to have something like that, because then as long as I feel like, as long as you have material that's relatable to like most of your audience, uh, as long as like you have things that feel more connected, then I feel like you'll have a lot better time than doing stuff like that. Because I mean, over time, like that's not something you can. It doesn't age well sometimes, I guess, for what you're saying, I think.
Also, with new material, you're like you said, you're challenging yourself every time you use
Yeah.
new material. So, like, you gotta go out there and just bomb and work with your
Yeah.
material. And if
But
it kills, it kills.
If it kills, it kills. I haven't like bombed in a while, and I hope to never bomb again. But I know it's inevitable. But like right now, I'm just expanding a lot on the stuff that I have, and just like making my set longer off of like some of these jokes that I have, because like I see some of them and I'm like, man, I could do so much more with this. I can expand more. I can add another joke right after it that fits there, you know. And you might see that whenever I do it. Like I'll use like a joke that I know that works that's in my set, and I'll use that joke as the opener, and then I'll just do all the stuff that I'm trying to expand on that one.
Right.
And then like the next mic, I'll do a different line of new
Dialogue
shit that I'm
and
trying to do.
I got you. That's
Or I'll just do the same shit.
it's just nice to have written stuff down, so you can fall back on it too. Like
Yeah, that's always good.
what I've done is I've written comedy, I've written jokes and stories and whatnot down, and I don't know if it will work because I haven't been up there in a while. Last night was my first time since February 2nd, so like I tried all my new
Oh, yeah.
stuff. Like everything last night was new, except for my adoption joke, and I bailed on
and you
that
said-
faster than. It just didn't come
If
out
you-
right. So
I think like if there's a joke that you tell every single time you go on stage, maybe just don't tell it anymore.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like do like all your new shit, you know? Because
Exactly.
like that's what I do, is like I just do only new shit, and like man, that shit's tough, man. It can be tough sometimes, and some like I've had moments where like, oh man, I have a whole new 4 minutes of one-liners, because like there was like a time like when I first started, I was just watching a lot of Mitch Hedberg. So I kind of mimicked him a lot, and I did a lot of one-liners and stuff.
That was my problem when I first started. I was just Bert Kreischer. Like I tried to imitate him and do what he did and everything, because like that's the most stand up I've watched. Like
It's just mostly
just
Bert
all his
Kreischer.
specials. And then I like once I started getting into more comedy and started actually taking it seriously and like
Watching others.
Yeah, I went out and watched Bill Burr and Tom Segura, obviously
and
Joe
it helps
Rogan.
you develop yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I started saying, because I started expanding off of Mitch Hedberg, because I was feeling like I was too much like him, and like doing his stuff, but like I was only doing his stuff because I was comfortable with it, because I knew that stuff worked.
Exactly.
So I was just coming up, and his were like simple. He was just 1, 2, 3, or it was just one goofy thing, and it's like, oh, I can do that, you know. And so I would just come up with stuff like that, or whenever I'm sleepy, sometimes it helps me write, you know. And like I would do that, and it would work, but then eventually I was like, oh man, I can't like do this. I got to figure myself out, you know.
Right.
And I started to figure myself out after I had gotten arrested, because that was like a whole new bit, and I was like, man, I'm gonna tell a story on stage, and like the first time I told that story, it actually went really well, but it felt weird to do it, because like all the other comics know that like I was just like this one basic thing, but I was completely different.
But you opened up.
Yeah, I opened up a bit, and then like I kind of just from there I started developing myself, and I guess all of them saw that too and saw my growth, you know.
Right.
And they've all
Like
kind of come to respect me even more.
a lot of comics
I
have told
guess.
me that when I'm doing comedy, the crowd wants to like me. They want to give me a chance, but I'm not the one. I'm not the type to open up and allow people to know who I really am. I try to
It's
put up
good to
a wall.
open up, though.
Exactly, and like just now, I'm starting to open up and just be like,
That's the great thing. That's the great thing about comedy, man, is that you can use all your trauma or your past experiences that have
your
been
flaws and
like,
everything.
your bad,
Yeah,
your flaws. You can joke about it, and you can turn it into a good thing, and
Exactly.
and then you turn it into material, which is great. Because I feel like most comics have, I don't know, maybe they've had not the most perfect life, so that's kind of helped them along the way in developing themselves into something, you know.
No, absolutely.
They've all faced something that has been in like an obstacle in their life, whether it be
Traumatic
mental health,
or yeah,
traumatic
right.
mental health, traumatic moments that maybe they had like a mega bad family relationship,
Right.
like anything like that. And I think that helps most people.
So what made you do comedy? Like what pushed you to the edge to step on stage?
Just me going like, man, I really want to do comedy, and if there's only one way to do like, just like I just have to figure out how to do it. And I remember Liz told me, she was like, I told her, I was like, man, this is my first time, and she was like, oh, this is where it all starts. And I was like, oh, sure it does,
Right.
This is, I don't know. Like I remember like my first time at the comedy club when I was watching all these guys, I was like, man, wow, this is cool. These are real comics, It's like, wow. I remember the first time on stage, man, I was shitting myself. My leg was shaking,
Yeah.
I forced myself up there, and I've had my problems with mental health in the past, and I've had really bad anxiety, like really really bad anxiety. I was always like, public speaking is like really scary, and like the fact that like I forced myself on stage, and I just did it and I got off. It was all right. I remember Aaron White was the host the first time I did it, and he said I did all right.
I don't think
He
I've
said I
met
did
Aaron
good.
yet.
Maybe I don't know.
I don't think
I don't know. Maybe if you saw him, maybe you
Maybe I would
remember.
recognize him. I can't put a face to
But
the name.
I remember when I was on stage, like my leg was shaking like really really bad. Like I could not control it, and I was real scared. Second time I felt more comfortable. Third time I bombed. Fourth time I killed it. But like as time went on,
Right.
it just got better and better and better. And like I look back at it now, and I'm like, man, I'm glad that I kept doing it. But there was never like a thought in my mind to stop, because I felt like there was something there, and I felt like I was like really doing something. And so like I kept coming back, and then like all the other comedians, they help you a lot.
They
'Cause
do.
They help you and they encourage you. Like Austin Slaughter is a really good guy.
I was just about to say.
I
So
love
you
him.
you mentioned
Yeah,
helps
he's a big,
you.
Yeah,
He's like a big influencer for you. Austin's my influencer.
Yeah.
Like he
yeah.
like,
Austin talks good about you all the time. I hear it a lot.
Austin's a great guy. I appreciate that he talks good things about me. I don't know what these good things are, but like
Austin's just a really good guy. I mean,
he's
gives me a lot of-
genuinely like he's a genuine guy. Like he just wants to see everyone succeed. That's the whole main thing.
He's such a nice dude. Yeah, I mean, he's helped me a lot too with encouragement and stuff. He's so like, I never see him without a smile. Very
Exactly.
happy dude.
It
Very
keeps a
happy to be around
mental,
people.
very happy mental state. Everything. I think it's the aliens he believes in.
The aliens.
He
Maybe he is one, and that's why he's so happy to be here.
maybe I didn't think
It's
about
It's a
that.
vacation for him. Maybe. I don't know.
He just wants to spread love and happiness.
He's gonna
and
invite us over to his
imagination.
house, and he's gonna like take his face off, and he's gonna be like, surprise!
He's
you
a pretty
gonna come on
cool
my
guy.
spaceship?
You
gonna come check it
that'd be
out?
so cool.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I'll check it out as long as I don't get probed. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I mean, if we're doing it, you better have some lube, because I'm not doing it straight.
Buy me some dinner first, and then we'll talk.
Buy me some dinner. Yeah, a good steak. A good $500 steak,
There you go.
all butted up.
No, Austin is the same guy outside of comedy while he's in comedy. Like I've hung out with him like at his house and everything, and he is just the goofy, fun, loving guy that he is on stage. Like,
Yeah, I haven't had the opportunity to hang out with him as much because he lives in Edmond.
Yep. Yeah,
I
that's
wish
kind
I
of a
went to
drive
his
for you. I
birthday.
get it. Yeah.
I wish I went to his birthday like real bad, but hopefully his next birthday I'll be able to go.
9/11, guys. 9/11.
9/11 is his birthday party at
Right.
least.
Celebrate.
But with
So
comedies, I kept coming back. I kept coming back to it because of like the expectations that that I feel like is there. Like I feel like there's expectation to improve, I guess. You know? Cuz like if all these other comics see you improving and doing new shit all the time and just trying to get better, you know? I think they all realize that.
Right.
So I feel like that's helped me just try and get better also.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know? And they all help you try and get better. And they love seeing it as well. Like
Yeah, I
pros.
think like regardless, we should all be a community. We should all.
We're a great community.
Right,
I like this
yeah.
community.
I
small,
love
but-
this small community. Like after you told me what Dallas is like, that is so scary to me.
Well, yeah, and it's like 2 cities. So like I was just at that one comedy club with like 40 different comics, and then there's also plus more that wanted to try and get on but
Right.
they didn't. And then there's like so many things, but like so many people are
Right.
just in that city. It's insane.
I'm just curious on how the other hyenas did
I don't know
because
But
I'm
I
sure they're
know-
busy just like
I know in like
that one you went
Fort
to.
Worth and like Denton alone, there's like 8 open mics on a Tuesday. That's what I'm talking about is that they have so many going on. And then like you go to like the big cities, they have like probably 20,
Right.
30, 40,000 fucking like open mics in one night. But whenever I went to Dallas, I remember Lenny Van Horn told me, he's like, man, when you started comedy, I'm glad you weren't like these edgy guys. And you weren't an edgy comic. And I didn't know what that meant. And then I went to Dallas, and then I watched some guys, and I was like, wow, that's what he meant. Now I get what edgy means. But Lenny's been a good help also.
Yeah.
Lenny's a real good guy. He's met my dad, so
Well, they're like Lenny,
was fun.
Marty, Julie. Those guys, they're seasoned vets. I feel like so they've been in the game for a while, and
I think I only really talked to Julie Drake once. I've talked to Marty a ton.
I get
all of
I
them,
think
though.
I've met Julie once too.
I had like
Julie.
a whole conversation with her once.
Oh,
She's
I did
pretty
not
cool,
have a cool-
but
yeah.
I haven't talked to her like since. I don't think she's really seen my stand up either. But
Well, I haven't really seen her much. Like at these open mics, like JJ's or Kendall's, I don't see her around there. I think she's
there's a lot of other comics that I see that are getting booked, and I don't see them at these open mics.
Yeah, I mean they've got their own thing going, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've got whatever they got going.
exactly.
They might be at a Saturday mic or a Monday mic or something that I don't know about,
Right.
or that I don't go to because of. I'm not gonna drive up here and do one open mic a night or something. I'm gonna try and at least get 2 in.
Yeah.
Kindles is great because they give you 10 minutes. So.
Yeah, that's what I like about it. Last night we got 10 minutes at the sad mic, just
Yeah.
because Kilo was coming in late. So
Yeah, and then I get 2 tough rooms, and I get 2 great rooms.
Yep.
But I love all of them so much. There's so much great opportunity in there.
yeah, absolutely.
I mostly look at all of it as improvement.
So getting down to the nitty gritty, your ultimate goal is you want to turn this into a career.
Yeah, I want to do a bunch of Netflix specials.
Do you want to be an actor, or you do
I
want
want
to do movies and
I
everything?
don't think I'm a good actor. I'm not good at that. The only thing I have going for me is comedy. I'm not really good at anything else.
I mean, you master your comedy, and other
We'll see where it
opportunities
goes.
will come. Like look at Bill Burr, for instance. He was a comedian, but he's done so many movies that no one has actually like realized he's in those. Like you have to go back and be like,
He's a great actor. I've seen some stuff that he's done.
exactly. And I think over time, you'll get where you need to go, dude.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I know it's a long journey, but hopefully it goes really well,
Well,
But
I
as
mean-
long as I keep wanting it, then because I never wanted something more bad. Like I've never dedicated
Exactly.
myself so bad to something. So
I've never wanted something more than like this podcast and comedy. Like these two things.
yeah,
All
I mean,
right,
I've thought
keeping
about
me
doing
going.
a podcast, but I don't know. For me, it's just comedy. But eventually, I feel like I'll get a podcast.
I feel like that's what every comedian does.
Yeah, it's all about podcasts now. Than like.
Dane Cook did MySpace, and that's how he got out there. And
MySpace?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
And-
now it's just mostly the internet podcast than it is like late night TV. So
exactly. Chandler, you've done it. You survived the HealyCast.
how long was this?
How long was it, man?
We recorded for 1 hour and 30 minutes.
Oh wow, that's a long time. I feel like the first 30 minutes wasn't that great though, because I kind of just wasn't into it.
w-
Everybody here probably didn't have the sleep. I had 2 hours.
Dude, we've all been lacking
man.
sleep. We're
Oh, I don't want to use that as an excuse, you know.
well,
You know
it is what it
here's
is.
the thing? I'm gonna give myself an excuse.
I feel like eventually
It is
got
what it
better.
is. All right, guys.
Social medias.
Yeah, what you got to plug here?
Anything else you want?
I have an Instagram if you want to follow that. It's just my name, Chandler_Rhone. If you want to follow that.
There you go. Go follow him.
That's
Go
pretty good.
follow him. Netflix, follow him.
That whoever wants to follow me, I don't care.
We're out, guys. We love you. Peace.
Thank you.
That's it.